Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. This time out, a new desktop processor from Boss. Let's get started. This is the Boss GT-001, a desktop guitar multi-effects processor with some very interesting extras built in. It's very closely related to the GT-100. You might recall we looked at that in an earlier Guitars and Gear video. In fact, any of the patches you create in the GT-001 or in the GT-100 are cross-compatible, so you can use them in either device. They have very similar software editors, which we'll take a look at in just a second, and also those extra features that I mentioned. For example, you can convert monophonic audio into MIDI and send it into your computer. You can also use the GT-001 as an interface for your computer, so your audio tracks from your computer can be fed through the GT-001 and then onto your monitors. From a connection standpoint, we've got 4 inputs on the GT-001. We've got an aux input for something like an MP3 player. We've got our guitar input, of course. There's an expression pedal input that can also accept 2 foot switches. And then there's a microphone input. So this really can serve as a one-stop interface for your desktop system. Plug a microphone in, plug your guitar in, and you can record straight into your software and your computer via USB. From an output standpoint, we have 2 1/4-inch outputs for the stereo guitar signal or the stereo signal that's being fed from your computer. We also have a headphone output, and then there's, of course, the USB connection on the back. Front panel is very simple, an on-off switch. We have 4 favorite buttons for calling up 4 of our favorite presets. Then we've got 4 small switches here on the lower right that turn the tuner on and off, that put you into the effect edit mode, that open up the menu for the system settings, and then also for writing patches that you want into the memory of the GT-001. We have a master output level, and then we have 4 knobs that control parameters or different settings when you're working in different menus inside the box. We've got a data entry control here, exit button, and an enter button. That's really all we have, and that's really all that you need. You can edit all the parameters inside the GT-001 from the front panel. You have access to everything you need there for creating patches and working with the system. But where it's really cool is when you hook it up by USB to your computer and open up the Tone Studio software. This gives you access to all the parameters, a graphic interface, so you can look at, for example, here we've got the amplifier, we can look at different effects, we've got our compressor. In this case, we've got an overdrive, and then after the amplifier, we've got an EQ, we've got reverb, we've got delay. So all those parameters and all those devices are available as a graphic interface, which makes it very easy to create your own patches and store them back into the GT-001. The Boss Tone Studio software also serves as a librarian for all your patches, so it's an instant backup for everything that you create. And it will interface with Boss's Tone Central website, where you can download additional patches into your computer and then into the GT-001. Let's take a listen to a few of the sounds that are in the GT-001. Now remember, this is basically the exact same architecture and all the power that's in the GT-100, so we really have a top-of-the-line guitar multi-effects processor and amp simulator right here on our desktop. two other features you really have to check out on the GT-001, and that's the ability to use it as an audio interface for your computer and also to use it as a MIDI converter. First, let's look at it as an audio interface. As an audio interface, the GT-001 provides us 4 channels of input that can be fed into the computer, and then 2 channels that come back from the computer and out to the speakers. So what I have here is my guitar plugged into the GT-001, and then the GT-001 is connected by USB into my MacBook Pro, which is running Pro Tools. I've got a stereo track set up here, and the signal from that is receiving 2 of the channels from the 001. The output from Pro Tools is then coming back through the USB cable, out through the stereo outputs and onto my speakers. So it's really serving as a centerpiece for my entire studio rig right here. Now, having those 4 channels of output coming from the GT-001 into Pro Tools lets us do some interesting things. For example, we can set up a stereo sound inside the GT-001, play our guitar, and then that will be recorded to a stereo track. Simultaneously, we can send a direct output from the guitar into Pro Tools, have that dry DI output available if we want to do any reamping later. Now, we can also plug a vocal microphone into the XLR jack and route that into Pro Tools. So this really can serve as the one-stop centerpiece for everything we're doing. Let's go ahead and record a very basic track to show you how this works. I've got my guitar set up coming into a stereo track here. You can see it's on the meter here, and I've got myself record enabled. On the drum track, I have Easy Drummer 2 playing a very basic drum track, and then over here we've got a synth bass playing along as well. So I'll just go ahead and play some chords along with that. When we play back, if you're looking for a way to make professional sounding demos or finished tracks, this is a great way to do it. It's so simple. Just plug in, the output goes straight into your DAW, and you've got your tracks right there. Let's take a look at one other feature inside the GT-001, and that's the ability to convert monophonic signals coming from the guitar into MIDI. Setting this up is very easy. Just plug your guitar into the GT-001 and turn on the guitar to MIDI conversion. Set up a track inside your DAW and load up a software instrument. As long as your channels match up, you'll hear sound right away. Now, of course, we can only play one note at a time, but that still allows us to record bass parts, to record synthesizer lead parts, and if you do want to do chords or pads, you can layer those sounds together by overdubbing different MIDI notes. And in fact, if you wanted to, you could even program your drums using your guitar. If you're looking for an all-in-one unit that gives you all the guitar sounds you could possibly want, all the effects, the amps, the speakers, the ability to create whatever tones and patches you need, you can certainly do that with the GT-001. And when you add the fact that it's an all-in-one interface that includes a microphone input as well as the guitar input and the ability to feed straight into your computer, you really can't match it. And then when you add that MIDI conversion, it takes it way over the top. There's nothing else in a desktop format that does everything the GT-001 does in such a compact box that's so affordable. I hope you've enjoyed this installment of Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more guitars, more amps, more effects, and we'll be making lots of music. I'm Mitch Gallagher.